Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because, well, we're going far below the surface of Apple's recent software-only event. Now, if you watched the WWDC 2026 keynote, you obviously saw a ton of flashy software updates. But for us, the focused learners, the real story isn't just what was on the screen. It's what that code is secretly telling us about the unannounced hardware that's literally just around the corner. Today, we're going to play detective and connect the dots between these subtle software tweaks and some massive upcoming physical devices. So here is our roadmap for today. We're weaving together 5 key areas: the Siri AI revolution, clues to a foldable future, the best hidden software gems, the Apple Watch Ultra 4, and finally, a massive visionOS upgrade. Let's dive right in. Before we get to the code, we have to acknowledge the heavy emotional weight of this event. Apple's tagline was "All systems glow," but honestly, the real glow was the spotlight on Tim Cook. This was his final WWDC keynote before officially stepping down as CEO this August and passing the baton to John Turnus. It truly marks the end of a 15-year era, and it sets the stage for a completely new chapter in Apple's history. Okay, let's hit number 1, the Siri AI revolution. Now, Apple has completely rebuilt Siri from the ground up, and the biggest takeaway here, they aren't handing off queries to third-party providers like ChatGPT anymore. Instead, this new assistant, branded just as Siri AI, is heavily relying on Google's Gemini models for the heavy lifting. Right now, there's this stark contrast between where we are and where we're heading. Today's newly rebuilt Siri is what we'd call request-based. You ask for a timer, it sets a timer. Easy. But Apple's engineering chief, Mike Rockwell, pointed out that their new extensible architecture is built for the future. It's heavily hinting at a shift toward agentic AI. We're talking about a system capable of autonomously operating your iPhone, iPad, or Mac software entirely on your behalf, which essentially makes it a direct competitor to tools like OpenClaw. Let's look at the immediate updates rolling out. We're getting a brand new standalone Siri app with persistent conversation history, plus deeply integrated Apple Intelligence features like automatic tab organization in Safari and one-tap password upgrades. But there is a catch. Due to regulatory friction with the EU's Digital Markets Act, users in Europe actually won't get Siri AI on iOS 7 or iPadOS 7 at launch. However, and this is an absolutely crucial detail, the new macOS 17 Golden Gate and visionOS 17, those remain completely clear for AI integration in the EU. Which brings us nicely to number 2, clues to a foldable future. We're shifting gears from cloud AI straight into a highly anticipated physical form factor, because the code in this new software is practically screaming that new hardware is coming. I mean, ask yourself this: why did Apple spend precious keynote time introducing a new device hub for developers in iOS 27? This hub lets devs dynamically resize apps and simulate weird, different screen configurations, completely shifting away from fixed iPhone orientations. Why do we suddenly need apps that can morph their shape and size on the fly? Well, because these software tools are essentially a Trojan horse for a massive hardware shift. Leaked specs for the upcoming iPhone Ultra paint a wild picture. We're looking at a book-style titanium foldable. The outer display acts kind of like a wider iPhone mini, sitting right around 5.3 to 5.5 inches. But when you unfold it, boom, you get a massive 7.6 to 7.8-inch inner display. It literally gives you an iPad mini in your pocket. This radical change in screen real estate perfectly explains why Apple so desperately needs developers to adopt dynamic iOS 27 app resizing right this second. And if you needed definitive proof, software researchers digging into the iOS 27 developer beta found literal code strings referencing fold state, angle degrees, and mechanical angle degrees. You guys, the software is checking the hinge angle of the device right now. This isn't just a prototype somewhere in Cupertino. The operating system is actively preparing to track how far open a device is folded. A foldable Apple device is absolutely imminent. Okay, taking a quick breath here. Let's jump to number 3, the best hidden software gems. These are the rapid-fire features that got zero stage time during the keynote, but they're going to completely change how you use your devices every single day. First off, independent volume controls for your ringer, media, and alarms are finally here. It's about time, right? Meanwhile, macOS 27 Golden Gate officially drops Intel support to run purely on Apple Silicon. We're also getting resizable iPhone mirroring on the Mac, and iPad Sidecar finally supports actual finger touch input instead of just the Apple Pencil. But my absolute favorite part, a quietly modified iOS 27 CPU scheduler, which is basically the traffic cop for your phone's brain, brings a measurable speed boost. So yeah, your old iPhone 11 might finally stop gasping for air. I also want to highlight 2 specific sleeper hits. For anyone doing deep research,
Safari will now use Apple Intelligence to automatically organize your chaotic 50 open tabs into coherent, topic-based groups. A real game changer. And for the parents out there, Apple introduced a very clever update. Kids can now request website approvals directly through Messages with an Ask to Browse feature. It routes right into your normal text threads. No clunky third-party family apps required. Moving right along to number 4, the Apple Watch Ultra 4. The exact same principle we just talked about holds true on your wrist. Software changes signal hardware. I want you to keep this number in mind, 20 to 30%. Supply chain analysts are expecting a massive 20 to 30% sales boost for this next generation of Apple Watch. Now, a jump that big doesn't happen from a fun new watch face or a slightly brighter screen. No way. That is driven directly by groundbreaking new sensor hardware. And this brilliantly illustrates Apple's ultimate health strategy. Leaks reveal the Ultra 4 is getting a full redesign, featuring a completely new 8-sensor ring pattern on the back. Why the new pattern? To enable high blood pressure monitoring. The watch will use this upgraded optical sensor array to analyze exactly how your blood vessels respond to every single heartbeat. Think about that for a second. This isn't just a basic fitness tracker upgrade. It's a clinical-grade tool that's currently under FDA review in the US. Finally, Section 5, a massive visionOS upgrade. During the keynote, visionOS 27 barely got a passing mention. But if you dig into the developer documentation, the Apple Vision Pro actually got a much bigger, much more fundamental upgrade than anyone on stage let on. Visually, there's a stunning new Icelandic Thorsmark environment. On the practical side, creators can finally capture unfoveated 4K screen recordings. That means the headset captures the entire field of view in crisp high resolution, not just the exact spot where your eyes happen to be looking. Plus, Apple is opening up their IR LED tracking framework. This allows any third-party company to manufacture highly accurate physical accessories, like styluses and gaming controllers, which is going to vastly expand the whole Vision Pro ecosystem. The OS also introduces high frame rate object tracking, meaning the headset can track moving or held physical objects at around 30 Hz. Incredible tech for sure, but there's a catch. To achieve this, devs have to use an extended training mode on their Mac. Early reports are showing it takes up to 18 hours of intensive machine learning training time just to bake the tracking data of a single physical toy into a spatial app. So yeah, you basically hit render and go take a very long nap. But despite that training time, the everyday workflow between your computer and your headset is getting flawlessly smooth. Just walk through this with me. Developers can now use a brand new two-way Mac 3D Object Preview API. Step 1. You simply open a 3D object from Finder on your Mac running macOS 27. Step 2. It instantly spawns right in your physical room via visionOS 27. You can edit the model in spatial computing using your normal gaze and pinch controls, and those edits instantly save back to the original file on your Mac. It effortlessly bridges traditional computing and spatial design. Well, we have covered a massive amount of ground today, from Gemini-powered Siri and European regulations, all the way to foldable iPhones and 8-sensor smartwatches. As Tim Cook prepares to pass the baton to John Turnus this fall, the landscape of how we interact with technology is fundamentally shifting. With autonomous AI, resizable screens folding in our pockets, and spatial computing blending perfectly with our physical reality, are you ready for this new era? Seriously, think about how your daily tech habits are going to change when the screen isn't just a slab in your hand, but folded in your pocket or blended seamlessly into your living room. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep your eyes peeled, everyone, because the code, it never lies.